So my friend had finally been able to obtain a copy of 29 Below by Jeff Rignall, which I had been talking about for over a year on Reddit as being lost media. It's now archived out there online. But there is one story I've not seen anywhere that is very important, I feel, to mention from this book. And it is about when Rignall had taken Gacy to court over the assault case. Now I'm going to read the excerpt and then go down a list of things that come to my mind with this. "Do you see him?" Fred whispered to Jeff. "I don't think so." "Well, I don't see anybody who looks like the guy you described," Fred said. When the Gacy and Rignall case was called, a young man with sandy hair and a slight acne problem sauntered up to the bench along with Jeff and Fred. The boy was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Jeff couldn't help but wonder if they would charge the kid with vagrancy. The judge eyed the three of them keenly. Looking at Jeff, he said, "Are you Rignall?" Jeff nodded. Fred said that he was Jeff's attorney, and Jeff took a step back from the podium. The judge turned his attention to the sandy-haired kid. "You Gacy?" he asked abruptly. "Ah," the kid stammered. "Your Honor, sir, Mr. Gacy couldn't be here today." "Why not?" the judge grumbled. "Mr. Gacy had to be out of town," he said. "He had to be out of town on business." The judge considered the kid's remark for a moment. He was annoyed. Mr. Gacy was notified of this court date. He should have arranged to be in town. He turned to his clerk and added Mr. Gacy's charges. Now this goes a bit forward, and this is after court. Jeff just looked at the kid. "Tell Mr. Gacy when you see him that he should contact me," Fred said. He handed one of his cards to the kid. "If he wants to know," Fred added, "we're going ahead with the charges, and we're also going ahead with our civil suit." The young man shrugged, took the card, and walked away. Jeff watched him as he moved toward the door, and suddenly he had an idea. "Stay here, Fred," Jeff said as he started away to follow the boy. "I'll be right back." The black truck in the parking lot also had a PDM license plate. Jeff couldn't make out the numbers from a distance, but he was sure it was one of Gacy's cars. The sandy-haired man headed straight for it. When he was 10 feet or so from the vehicle, he took a ring of keys out of his pocket, threw them in the air with his right hand, and caught them with his left. He loped over to the driver's side of the truck. The truck said PDM Contractors on site, and it gave a phone number in big white letters. Now, nonetheless, this begs two things. Who is the sandy-haired man with slight acne? I believe this could either be Rossi or Paskey. Both Rossi and Paskey had blonde hair. Speaking on acne, it's truly difficult to know for sure. A lot of the stories about Paskey having acne, which me and my friend had written the Philip Paskey Wikipedia article, pretty much it's a mistake. These stories mostly come from CavDef and his CavDef's Fury, mostly adding on to the Bonacci case based on a low-quality colored image of Philip Paskey's 1976 mugshot. There's pretty much no true evidence out there Paskey had any acne. And the only thing that the news report that did talk about Paskey's appearance that it verifies is that Paskey did cross-dress. Now, nonetheless, the other notable thing to add is that Gacy talked about individuals having keys to his home in both interviews, but also in one of his appeals cases. He mentioned both Rossi and Paskey of having keys, and additionally, in the 1970s, individuals didn't have garage openers. But Gacy's house, it also just didn't even have a garage, so, I mean, whoever this employee was of Gacy, they would have had to physically go to the door with the keys, which Rignall claimed this was a ring of keys. Meaning one of these keys would have had to belong to Gacy's house on top of the one that belonged to his vehicle, which he did have a vehicle that said PDM on it. Now, it's impossible to prove for sure if Gacy was out of town, as this was a 1978 court case. It was in September, when Rignall had taken this to court. But, I mean, both Paskey worked for Gacy at that time, and as we know, Rossi was still going over to Gacy's house. So, again, it could truly be either of them, but do I truly believe he was out of town, or could that just be a ploy? I think it could truly be either, but I take more it could be a ploy. There was prior instances when Gacy was out of town, such as the John Mowry disappearance. And as we know, Russie did say to Mowry's girlfriend that, Gacy was going to be out of town soon, so it was really important they went over there. But do I think a year later, after September 1977, that he was also out of town in September 1978? No, I think this was more of a ploy, like, he knew he was going to get in trouble and that charges were going to be brought against him, so he sent somebody else to court to kind of throw it off, to try to make it go away. But, of course, there is always going to be that what if. With it, like, he truly could have been out of town. I always say, it's clear Gacy didn't lie about individuals having keys to his house, because, an individual drove this car to this court case against Gacy. But, he did also talk in that same interview of constantly being out of town. But I say it's just so hard to prove if we do not have the 1978 flight files to even verify if Gacy was out of town at the time of this court case for sure.